I'm Katie from Heart's Content Farmhouse, and today I want to show you how to dehydrate basil in your dehydrator so that you can store it through the winter. So dehydrating basil is a great thing to do because this time of year a lot of times we'll have really big plants and it is something that's hard to use a lot of all at once unless you're making pesto. So what I like to do is dehydrate it and just make dried basil that I can keep all year round. You will actually be surprised by how much you can get out of dehydrating your basil. When I go out to the garden, I fill this basket with fresh basil. I don't pack it down or anything, just loosely pile it in here. And then that dehydrated will make 2 of these little jars of basil. I'll normally do that twice during the growing season, and that will last me until next year's basil comes in, which is great. I mean, a dehydrator is going to do all the work. This is not a hard thing to do. You just have to keep in mind that it's going to take a really long time. It takes me 24 hours with my dehydrator on 95 degrees before it gets truly crispy. So I just wanted to give you a few tips in case you are having a hard time getting it to turn out the way you want. So first you want to pick your basil and then immediately get to work pulling the leaves off the stem. A little bit of stems are going to be fine, but you don't want any big thick ones. When you're selecting your plant, make sure it is a basil that you're happy with because the flavors are going to concentrate as it dries. So sometimes basil will develop like sort of a licorice smell or something else where it's like veering off into a different variety of basil. You want it to really be a true sweet basil smell when you're picking this to dry because whatever flavors in there is just going to be multiplied. So make sure you're happy with the fragrance of the basil, pull the leaves off, give them a rinse, and then pat them dry as gently as you can. If you bruise it, it'll start leaving black marks, which isn't a huge deal, but if you have a lot of them, it starts to look ugly in the finished product. So you just want to lay everything out flat on your dehydrator trays. Don't pile it up, and if you can, have the leaves not touch each other and they'll dry out faster. Whatever is your lowest setting is probably best. My lowest setting is 90 degrees and I actually do 95. That works great for me. And it's going to take longer than you think. So first, you can check it at about 6 hours, but it's just going to look like slightly dried out but still soft and flexible leaves. It has to go way longer than that. So like I said, 24 hours is what I usually do. It's never been done for me before 18 hours. So if it doesn't look like it's going well, just keep on running your dehydrator and eventually you will get there. So when it seems dry and crispy, pick it up and it should crumble really easily in your hand. You can just crumble it by hand and then put it in whatever storage container you're using. If there are some leaves in your batch that haven't fully dried out, go ahead and just pull those out and stick them back in the dehydrator. One thing that is helpful to know for this is you can turn it off. Turn your dehydrator off and then turn it back on. So if you're trying to like relax in the evening and you don't want to hear it, just turn it off and then turn it back on again in the morning or when you go to sleep. It's not a big deal to switch it on and off as long as the whole process finishes up within about 2 days. So again, this is a really easy thing to do, but it's one less thing to buy at the store and it keeps you from wasting all that basil that you're growing in your garden. So if you have a dehydrator, this is a great way to use it. And I hope that this was helpful to you and that you give it a try. Thanks for watching.